right, greetings and welcome to Bettor's Last Stand, episode number 12. We got Chris sitting in for Coach today, who's off on assignment doing the West Virginia State Golf Tournament up at Ogilby. Beautiful weather for that. We got Luke here as usual. Exciting show. We got lots to talk about. We're going to recap some of the craziness from last week, sports-wise, betting-wise, of course, with a concentration in money won and money lost. We're talk a little bit about the MLB playoffs, which are beginning on Friday, so that'll be right as you view this show or listen to this show. You can get ready to load up on some of the MLB playoff series, which begin on Friday. So I'm excited about that. We got NHL starting on Friday night and into next week as the teams open up throughout. I think, Chris, you said the Penguins open Thursday, I think.
Yeah, the 13th.
Yeah, so an exciting time of the year. NBA is getting ready to go. I can't wait for that. I know Jub's pumped up about it. And Luke, you excited about NBA, or do you really care?
A little bit? It's all right. Some of the player props and you give out aren't bad.
Sure. Okay, well, we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff as we go on here through the next few weeks. But today we're going to worry about the MLB playoffs, a little bit of NHL, and then we're going to talk about the college and pro cards for this weekend. Chris has been diving in deep. He can't wait to give us his picks. Looking to bounce back from a tough Busch Light pick last week. We fell to 4-1. If you weren't following us, we had the Lions last week, and the Lions just couldn't stop anybody. Offense performed fine. Just too many mistakes, breakdowns on defense. But Chris, don't worry, we'll bounce back this week, I expect.
You know, Matt, too, and you said this is episode what?
We're 12.
So I feel like the practice squad player that got called into duty in an emergency situation, and I'm replacing a guy with nearly 5 decades of gambling experience and sports knowledge. So, but I feel like I show up at practice every day and put in my time. So I'm ready.
This
to
was
contribute.
your opportunity. You've been waiting for this.
So we'll see what the reviews say when we're done. But I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you. I think you're going to do just fine. You know enough about all this stuff too, whether it's intentional or being around us and hearing about all the misery and some of the good stuff. But recapping the Pine Room from last week here on Bettor's Last Stand, the Generations plays with Luke Duplaga. He's going to join us later in the show. He went 2-0 with a Kentucky Wildcats, a winner, and then his beloved I almost called him Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders with a nice must-needed victory. They covered as well. So Luke on the season, I believe, is like 7-3 now. So great start for him. He's going to be on joining us with his picks. Our Pine Room picks were 12-11 last week. So that, always, whenever we're ahead, I guess we'll take it. And as we said, the Busch Light pick didn't turn out the way we wanted, but we're 4-1. We're 80%, and I'm sure Jub's been watching film, getting ready for this weekend to help us bounce back.
Big time.
We got Jub behind the glass, or not really the glass, here in the interior Pine Room Fire Pit studio here. Jub running all the stuff for us as usual. Jarrett's on the premises doing maintenance work right now. But lots going on here at the Pine Room. We got a big weekend. We've been out for the last 2 weeks. We got rained out last week, and then we had a wedding 2 weeks ago, so I think everybody's going to be anxious to get around the fire, listen to some music with these incredible speakers that Jub has now, and drink a lot of beer, bet a lot of games, and hopefully by the end of the night, Luke's Irish can come through the victory.
Yes.
Yep. So that's a 7:30 game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you and your dad will be here most of the day.
Yes.
All right, good to hear. Weather should be awesome. We may have our WKKX counterparts coming up here on Saturday morning to do the Saturday morning sports huddle, I believe it's called. Yeah, with Dr. Georges and the fellows. They're supposed to be on site here. We're going to make sure we don't have a frost delay. Coach is going to check that out and be sure. But we're set to go for that. So check that out. If you're tuning in on Friday evening or Friday afternoon for this show, check that out tomorrow, which will be Saturday morning. And then you can follow us on the Watchdog as well. We have our Monday, I almost said morning, Monday afternoon, 2 to 3 time slot where we talk all about high school football. across the river, West Virginia and Ohio. Delve into a little bit of college and pro, but we run out of time usually because we're breaking down these high school games, getting Chris's concession stand reports and all that kind of good stuff. But without further ado, I guess let's start getting into some betting from this week. Last week in the NFL, we're gonna talk a little bit about baseball, I think, first, and then we'll go into college and NFL. But just recapping a few highlight things here. NFL Dogs 8-7-1 with 5 outright winners last week. The totals were 8 to the over, 8 to the under. Always find that stuff fascinating, so I think it's a good thing to track. Just be aware of it. Season-long NFL favorites right now, 26, 35, and 3 against the spread, so it's looking like a dog kind of season. Outright dogs have been coming through pretty well. Unders cashing at 37 and 26. So unders and dogs have been the way it's gone for the first 4 weeks, but that can change in a hurry as the numbers start to tighten up. You never really know what to expect as the season goes on. Injuries start coming into play and things like that. 57.4% on the dogs, 58.7% on the unders. Just shifting gears, guys. Baseball playoffs were solidified yesterday as the Mets blew their 10.5 game lead, and they finally got the nail put in their coffin last night. The Braves made it interesting, though. They couldn't really put the Marlins away last night, hang on for a 2-1 win. The Mets then become the wild card team, and they now will play and host the Padres on Friday. I'm really looking forward to this. Chris and I talked today about the 3-game formats all at the home team's field.
That's really good. I think that's really it's unique and something different, and like you said, it eliminates the travel.
Yes, yeah, it's quick.
And we can play 3 straight days.
3 straight days, yeah, it's great. Luke, what do you think about that format? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I do like it. I think there's some good matchups, but I do think the Mets will probably lose to the Padres the first round. I just have a feeling.
Was thinking that. Well, I'm going to take everybody through the numbers. So the first series we'll talk about here is the Cardinals, minus 135 to win the series against the Phillies, plus 115. For the series to go over 2.5 games, it's minus 110 each way. So a pretty even series here. The Phillies held the advantage over the Cardinals. I don't recall what it was the season series, but I know they did win it. I'm on the Cardinals here. I definitely would lean towards the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals are really good enough to probably win, but with that with the Albert Pujols stuff going on right now, they can maybe find an extra gear. I don't know. Thoughts on this series, Chris?
I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I mean, I just think that just with their tradition, and they're damn good, and they're at home.
Yes.
Those
people will be pumped.
40, 50,000 strong every game. I mean,
yes.
And I'm not so sure about the Phillies. All I know is, in my opinion, that Bryce Harper is the most overrated guy. Not in baseball, but I don't think I don't think he's as much of a difference maker as his paycheck would determine. But I'm going to go with the Cardinals in that one.
Yeah, Luke, thoughts on that one?
I'm going to take the Cardinals. I just don't think the Phillies have enough pitching.
I totally agree. I think the Phillies got issues in the bullpen. I think the Cardinals have pieced together a decent rotation. Now they brought Montgomery over from the Yankees, and some of their other guys. Wainwright's always a guy you want on the mound in a playoff game, even though he's getting up there. And they got Flaherty and a couple other guys, Mikolas, that can give innings. I definitely think the Cardinals are pretty good. They got great corner infield with Goldschmidt and Arenado. That's as good as it gets. So I'm definitely on the Cardinals there. I thought that price was a little bit cheap, and I will definitely be on the Redbirds, and I am not a Redbird backer at all, but big Mark McLaughlin will be pumped up. He'll be ready to go for that.
Big Mac.
He's a big Cardinals fan. So best wishes to he and the Cardinals. The series that Luke just mentioned, this is a really intriguing first-round series to me. The Mets minus 170 favorites against the Padres plus 140. Now, these games are at Citi Field. Man, I lean the Padres here too, Luke. I really do. I think they got enough to be able to beat the Mets. I think the Mets have struggled the last 3 weeks, and I think the pressure could get to them. The fans are going to be pissed. They're already mad they blew that lead. Timmy Trumpet or whatever the hell his name is will be out there tooting along, but that doesn't really seem to provide them any victories. What do you think?
Now, is DeGrom and Scherzer both healthy?
Oh, they say they are. And they haven't come out with the Game 1 matchups yet, but I'm assuming DeGrom will pitch Game 1.
Yeah, I think the Padres, I agree, Matt. I think the Padres will win this series. I think the Padres honestly have a better lineup name to name with the Mets. I think the Padres, their pitching's not as solid, but they got solid guys in there. They've used their money well over the last couple of years, but I think the Padres get enough to I think they could go all the way with that lineup. That lineup's really good.
Yep. And in the playoffs, we all know things tighten up, Chris.
Matt, I was going to say the same thing because I don't think there's really much pressure on the Padres.
Can't be.
I mean, with the Mets and that payroll and the guys that they got, and the fact that it's in the hotbed of baseball in New York City in that market, and like you said, their last 3-4 weeks of the season, they've been terrible.
They needed to win one game against the Braves.
Yes, and I just think that the lights are going to be obviously a lot brighter, and with if they lose that first game, boy, that's I mean, like you said, the median fans aren't too kind.
No, they're very unforgiving.
So I would take, and plus when you and Mark were always, no matter what the sport is, I look at these series, and there's no way that the home team is going to win all 4 of these. So if I'm looking at with the matchups, I'll take the road team. So I'll go with the Padres.
Now you would think on paper, when you get to put DeGrom and Scherzer at the top of the top billing for games 1 and 2, that should be enough to win. But I just think the Mets bats. I think Marte still being hurt hurts them a lot. He can do a lot of things when he gets on base. Not that people steal bases much anymore, but in the playoffs, just taking extra bases is so important.
Yes.
And I like what the Padres have as far as hitters in their lineup who have some kind of not necessarily playoff experience, but Juan Soto does. He was on a World Series team, and he got a lot of big hits in that. And that's a different kind of player. In October comes along, different kind of hitters come up in those situations. It's not the guys that compile regular season stats that hit. It's guys who can timely hit, work counts. And I think the Padres neutralize things when you go down that lineup. They have enough pitching. Their bullpen is equal to the Mets.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you're good.
With you talk about that because obviously the playoffs are a whole different monster. Do you see or do you think, because we just talked last night about analytics and it's just like, swing for the fences, hit the ball 5
launch angle.
Yeah, and all that bullshit. But like you said, when the games get tighter and it comes down to elimination, are we going to see a hit and run? Are we going to see a bunt or a guy hit to the opposite side of the infield to advance a runner, or is it just...
Yeah,
it should.
I would expect that. I would expect that you would. I know last year you started to see a little bit of that. Teams like the Rays and things like that do things a little bit different. Don't have the bang in the middle of the lineup. But I think you definitely have to think that teams would do that. I mean, you're trying to win here. At this point, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Just moving runners and just working counts even, and getting matchups that you want out of the bullpen for the other team. Like just a lot of that goes in. Buck Showalter, I'm a fan of, but he's had some issues managing games, and when his team starts to lose it, he's had trouble reeling it back in. So. I don't know. I think that'll be a good series. I expect it to go 3 games. I think it'll come right to the wire.
Is Buck a World Series champ? Did he manage a World Series
He
team?
may have managed that one Yankee team in the 90s.
Okay.
But that would be the only one. He's managed a lot of teams. He's done a nice job, but I don't know. I look forward to that series. I think it should be very good.
Yep.
Moving on to the Jays, the Blue Jays, minus 170 on the series price against the Mariners, plus 140. This is an interesting one, too. I think the Mariners have an advantage at the top of the rotation with the pitching. Tommy's boy from the Reds, Castillo. I mean, that guy's been incredible since he's gone over there. I like, and Robbie Ray's been, pretty decent. There's a pretty good guys to have on the hill. That Manoah kid, Luke, do you know much about him? He's starting game 1, I heard, for Toronto.
Yeah, he was an all-star this year. He's having a great year. He actually went to WVU, if you guys didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I that's why I figured you would know. I didn't know a ton about him. I remember that he went there, but was he on the same staff as Michael Grove at one time, or did they?
Yes.
Okay. So they did overlap. That's interesting. But, he's had a great season. But, again, you don't ever know how these guys are going to perform in their first playoff game.
Yeah, he's definitely got nerves. But I think the Blue Jays, this is their lineup.
They got a great lineup.
Their lineup's unbelievable. I think the Blue Jays Mariners not enough bats, and I think that'll get to them. And I think the Blue Jays would take care of business here. I
would be leery for the Mariners. If they get good starting pitching, I think they got a chance. Because you never know how these young kids are going to perform in a playoff series. Biggio, Bichette, and so on and so forth, Guerrero. But, the Blue Jays on paper look like the team. Mariners bullpen, I still got some question marks about that, but if their starting pitching holds up, I think they got a chance. Chris, thoughts on this series?
Matt, I got to be honest. I don't know a whole lot about either team. I know our good friend and friend of the show, Brad McLaughlin, who is Mark's son. He's a huge Mariner fan, and he bleeds whatever color they are. What are they, blue and?
Well, they change a lot. Teal, green,
right? But anyway,
whatever. Back in the Ken Griffey and A-Rod days.
But I'm going to take the Blue Jays. First of all, I think they got one of the sharpest logos in baseball. I love that Blue Jay. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays.
And I'm sure that that Rogers, is that what it's called? Rogers Center? Does they still call it that? I don't know. They may not.
Yeah,
it might be sponsored by. But that place will be rocking. That's a pretty good playoff atmosphere.
It is.
It could be tough sledding for Seattle. But I think it all comes down to if Castillo can pitch like an incredible opening game against Manoah and somehow win, then they got a chance, obviously. In a 3-game series, if you can just steal that one game, then the pressure goes to the home team, as we spoke about the Mets. So we'll see. That's what it'll come down to for me. I would definitely lean Blue Jays here, but I think if Castillo puts up a good showing on Friday, then the Mariners will have a chance. Our last series, Chris, this hits close to home. Your Indians, your tribe, or now called the Guardians, minus 130 against the Rays, plus 110. That's Cooley's beloved Rays.
Yes.
Should be a good series. I really like Cleveland in this series. I thought that price was a little bit disrespectful. The Rays, not as good as they have been in previous years. They've had a lot of injuries, pitching not as good. They do the opening stuff. I don't trust their rotation at all, even though they have some guys that have put up good stats. I don't think they hit enough either, and I think the cold weather could get to those Floridians, and I like it if there's a chill in the air out by the lake. I like the tribe, Chris.
Yeah, I do too, Matt. I mean, this tears at me. I keep thinking about the 2016 World Series, and even years past when they lost to I think it was the Marlins. But I think
Craig Counsell.
I don't know. They got a young team. They just show up at the park, and they just.
I'm a huge Terry Francona fan.
Yes,
huge. I loved him when he managed Boston. They should have never left. They should have never got rid of him.
Absolutely, and things haven't been too much better for them since
Tito left.
There.
They got the Boston bombing season, but shit, I could have managed them to win that year.
And but I think with the Guardians and their pitching with Bieber and those guys, and they got the closer. They get to the ninth inning. Was that Clase?
Yeah.
I mean, that guy he throws bullets. But I don't know. I'm going to take the Indians, but again, if something catastrophic happens in Game 3 of it and it goes against the Indians, it wouldn't surprise me one bit, just because it's Cleveland.
So who do we expect? Do we expect Bieber to throw Game 1?
I believe so, yes.
And then who would be in line to pitch after him? I'm trying to think. Who's the kid that pitched yesterday, Luke, for them? Shoot, I'm drawing a blank on his name. But his home stats, I'm looking it up right now. His home stats, the kid that threw yesterday for them, has incredible... who was it? Quantrill. Cal Quantrill has won. They've won like 26 straight games when he's pitched at home. They've won the game. Now he doesn't get the decision in all those, but I think the Indians starting pitching is really good. Luke, thoughts on that series?
Actually, I'm gonna go against you guys here. I do think the Rays will win. The Rays just have that magic in the postseason. They've had it the last couple years, and I don't know that Arozarena always he's got
a baller.
That playoff magic, and I don't know, just Guardians young core. No, I just think the Rays. Well,
they do have some experience though, don't they?
Yeah,
the Tampa does.
Rays definitely have experience. I'm anxious to see how they'll do outside in this series. They don't get any games at home. They play a different style of baseball than most of these other teams, but the Indians kind of do too. They're not the smash and bash.
No, they're not.
Team.
No, they can, and they got that rookie. What is it, Quan?
Yeah. Timely hitting, just good pitching. I think that'll be a really good series. I could see it going 3. I like those games under. I'll be hammering unders in those because the Rays have a bullpen, and Kevin Cash won't hesitate to bring a guy in the second inning. Like they don't care. They got tons of arms, guys that can throw. Cleveland will have the same. Francona will have at his disposal all his bullpen guys, and then they have a vast array of starters who can give them innings in between. So I look for that. I look for unders in that series. I like a lot of those games under. Those will be low totals. 6.5s probably on most of those games, maybe a 7 creeping in. Some of these other games could be down in the 5s. That game, the Mets and the Padres, that DeGrom pitches, I don't know what the total will be in those games, but keep an eye on those. If you see 7s popping up in playoff baseball, take a shot on them. I say this to people a lot about that. 4-3 doesn't beat you. I mean, and think about how many games in playoffs, 4-3, 4-2, 4-1, 3-1, 3-2. You stay under in all those situations.
You don't have a lot of 9-8s, 9-7s,
yes.
or 10-8s, whatever. I just think it's just like you said. It's just a different type of baseball.
It is, and it's a fun type of baseball. I'm looking forward to it. Getting dark early, getting the games on, 4 games a day, tight condensed schedule, going to be good. A little chill in the air, maybe a few snowflakes. Jubb, give us your thoughts on these baseball series. As a former pitcher, you like anybody?
I've been keeping my a third person perspective. I've been keeping away from most of these games. I like to just watch and from an objective point of view, take in the atmosphere. I don't have a favorite. I don't need a favorite, but I do. I will say, as much as I dislike sports, I do like this time of year. And if I come downstairs and there's a game on the TV, it gives me a little bit of a little bit
of intrigue. You get the crowd, you get the boo boo boo, I love that. The deep count, guy fouls off like 15 in a row. It's guy runner in motion. That's just great. That's just a sign of a good time of year.
And I know that the closer we get to these types of times a year, the better our Saturdays are going to be.
Right.
So that's what I look for.
Holidays are around the corner.
And Jubb too with you. I know you can't put all your passion in all yours, because we have to always temper your excitement for the football.
Yeah.
And you burn up a lot of energy cheering and rooting. So that's probably why you just kind of take a laid back approach to the baseball playoffs, and you just watch your friends react, see how they're doing, hope they win their bets.
Exactly. There's only so much I can do.
There's only so much you can give.
Yeah, exactly.
Evie doesn't like something, but and guys, any thoughts before we go take our first break and talk college football? Anybody? Do we see any other way that's not Astros and Dodgers in this thing? Can the Braves do something? The Mets. Well, Luke and I are both against the Mets. Any thoughts on who can come out of either league?
I'm just going to take the Dodgers, since we got Michael Grove, the local kid, and he's pitched pretty well lately. And we were talking the other night. He's
on the IL now. Yeah, but that won't. I think it was just like a contusion. So.
Yeah, so they did end up with the best record, correct?
Yeah.
So I would put money on them.
Dodgers, Luke.
Yes.
I'm with the Dodgers as well.
That's the easy.
Yeah. What do you guys think about in the American League? Do you think that the Yankees have any chance of being able to beat the Astros? Could
no,
a team?
I don't.
Okay, could a team like Toronto or the Guardians maybe make a run and get to the ALCS?
Toronto for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think so. I would go with that too. I'm not sold on the Indians, but it's
they may be a little ahead of schedule.
Yes, they very well.
I think
could
Toronto's kind of a little ahead of schedule.
And Cleveland won a lot of games down the stretch.
Yes, they did. They did. And you know what was impressive about them, and it doesn't really apply here, but they always seem to win the series against the teams that they're supposed to beat, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and they were. I think they had like a 2 or 3 game lead, and they got red hot, and
put the White Sox away, put the Twins away. White Sox were embarrassing this year.
Right, and then they put an end to Tony La Russa's career too, so he's finally retired.
That old bastard.
Yeah, I know. Tommy's favorite. Tommy's favorite manager. But it like you said, it's a fun time of year. You get 3-4 games a day.
I'm looking forward to it. I like the Astros to come out of the American League. They worry me a little bit hitting. Wish they had one more bat. And then out of the National League, I think the Braves could get hot again, but probably the Dodgers. I think the Braves pitching is vastly superior, but man, that lineup is tough to get around for LA, and we'll see if they can do it. The only time they've won a World Series recently was the COVID year, so people say it doesn't even count. They didn't even have people there, so we'll see if they can do it this year for Michael Grove. Hopefully he gets some time in the playoffs. That'd be pretty cool. But anyway, we're going to take a break here on Bettor's Last Stand, come back and talk about this week's college football card here on Bettor's Last Stand.
This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
All right, welcome back into Bettor's Last Stand. We are joined by our man down at Generations, Mr. Luke Duplaga. 6-2 on the year, 2-0 last week with the Kentucky Wildcats and the Las Vegas Raiders, his very own Las Vegas Raiders. So that had to feel doubly good. Luke, thanks for joining us as always here on Bettor's Last Stand. It's great to have you. You're red hot right now, 6-2 on the season. Where do we go this week? Give our people some more winners, man.
We're going to go college and NFL again. Let's go to the Rocky Top. Tennessee -3.
Okay.
And something that is really I like this NFL pick a lot because Tom Brady's the GOAT. And he might be getting divorced, but he really doesn't care. He cares about winning football games. There's no way he's going to start out 2-3, and the Falcons just aren't that good in my opinion, so we're going to go Buccaneers -9.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty. That's awesome.
You give that? All right.
Well, because Luke Doyle here just gave us a quick update here. Just breaking news right now. It says Brady's questionable. He's questionable. Brady is now questionable. So does that make you rethink?
You gotta go to the divorce.
That's what I thought. I don't know. I think I agree with your method of thinking. If he plays, I think it motivates him. And yeah, like you say, he doesn't lose 3 in a row.
There's no divorce court on Sunday.
I'm gonna have to change my
Is she leaving him or is he leaving her?
I don't know. Maybe mutual. But apparently it's because he went back to playing football, so pissed her off.
Well, that he might be pissed and he might go out because I know last time they played, you said that you never want to piss Brady off. And they ended up winning that
you don't
game.
want to do that. The Saints learned that lesson.
Well, it says he missed practice. It was personal, and then finger and shoulder is an issue. So
okay. Oh boy.
Who's her backup?
Blaine Gabbert.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, that line will drop immensely if he goes out. Well, Luke, what are we going to stick with, or are you going to have to go elsewhere? Short notice here. Jeez.
Remix. We're going somewhere else.
Okay.
We're going somewhere else. How about... Okay. What do you think about Dallas?
Oh, man. They've been playing great, but can they keep it up? That's the question. I was against them last week, and they proved me wrong, but Washington's so bad.
You know where I'm going with? Let's go back with Vegas.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, ride them hot.
Hey, let's go.
Versus the Chiefs. We're going to Arrowhead. Derek Carr is ready to go. He did a couple scrambles, and I was screaming in the restaurant. You're going to like this story, all right? About a group of old men, I'm cheering the whole game. They say, oh, this has been a Raider bar forever. Everybody knows when the Raiders are on, I'm going to be cheering my brothers, whoever, my dad.
Yes.
And these young, out-of-town, I think, guys, they start cheering for the Broncos. I let it go. And Derek Carr goes, he scrambles. I was like, oh, he needed that. He needed to do that. He hasn't done it all year. And then the guy mocked me. He said, oh, he needs it.
Oh, fuck.
So Broncos come back, they scored, and they make it a game later in the game. They start cheering. I turn around and say, hey, is there a problem? They're like, yeah, you started it. I said, I started it. This is a Raider bar. Now you sit here and you watch your Raiders and be quiet.
Right.
And I was all fired up. So what I did was, I felt bad. I called their server. I said, get them 3 shots of green tea, and it's from the owner. Never heard a word.
That's good.
Never heard a word.
That's the way you handle that kind of conflict.
Go Raiders.
Yeah.
And when they won, I made sure I got just one baby.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, you had to. Absolutely. That was they drew first blood. So
did they appreciate it though? Your generosity, giving you the shots, giving them
They said thank you.
Okay,
Server had to tell me thank you. They didn't speak a word to me after.
Oh man, they had to swallow their pride.
Hopefully they don't show back up this weekend, but we'll go Tennessee -3 and the Raiders +7.5. Let's get 2-0.
So Tennessee Volunteers on the road at LSU. For those of you listening, that's a 12 noon kick, and then the Raiders on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs +7.5. Luke, what's going on down at Generations the rest of the week?
Oh, busy. Same stuff. We got burger night. The Pine Room Burger is always banging.
Yummy.
Got buckets of beer on the football game, $16 buckets. Wings and pierogies Saturday during the day for the college games. Wings and pierogies on special all day Sunday. All day happy hour Sunday is always intact. with the bucket special.
Making me hungry, man. So
and thirsty.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Luke. Well, thanks for joining us as always. Be sure and go down there to Generations and visit our buddy. They've done a lot for us. Really appreciate their support. Thanks again, Luke, and good luck this week with the Tennessee Volunteers and your Las Vegas Raiders. We will talk to you next week here on Bettor's Last Stand.
That's right.
All right, buddy. See you. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Luke.
Bye.
All right, that was Luke Duplaga, hoping to keep it going here. He had to change on the fly there, Job. Jeez, that was quick thinking, but you
like
always go to your heart when all else fails.
I like that.
Shoot first, ask questions later. Brady, Luke Doyle getting that breaking news, had him
Kyle
changing
Trask.
his pick.
That's their backup.
Oh, Trask. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Is that a Florida kid?
Yeah,
he went to
they
Florida.
that's his second year, I think. So, all right, well, let's get into the college card, gentlemen. We got Luke likes a game early there with the Tennessee Volunteers at Brian Kelly. Let's start with that game. What do you think about that game?
I think Tennessee was slaughtered. I think LSU's really bad, and just no one's seen it yet because they haven't played anybody. I think Tennessee gets them good here.
Okay. Let's go back real quick to Friday. This show will come out on Friday. So anything on the Friday night card is not real too dazzling. See the Rutgers-Nebraska game. Nebraska minus 350.5. A lot of money on the under so far in that one. And any of those four games that you guys have any opinions on? Chris, I'm sure you're a big UNLV guy.
Well, Houston and old Dad Dana.
Boy,
down
Dana.
there on
Dana's
the road.
a fucking mess, isn't he?
Down there at Memphis getting 3.
Did you see him last week? They were in overtime. He took the ball first.
Yeah, you guys were.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Hey, is Nebraska won since they got rid of Scott Frost? Have they played 2 games?
Yeah, they won they didn't win the first one.
Right.
And then they won the second one, I
okay.
believe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they played Indiana. Did they beat Indiana?
Indiana.
Yeah. That's not a great Friday night card by any means. I mean, that's literally Bettor's Last Stand there. That's
exactly.
for the most degenerate of us.
There's nothing compelling there.
No, Houston,
nothing.
Memphis. I mean, no. Rutgers. Coach did give us a play. He's up there announcing the West Virginia State golf. He likes Rutgers plus the 3.5 on Friday night. A 3-star play from Coach on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
What does he know about Rutgers?
A lot.
I like.
He went to their practice. He's been talking to their the office secretary.
Yes,
which he has a tendency to do. Luke, you have any thoughts on Friday night's card?
Yeah, I like Nevada a lot. I think Colorado State's really bad, and I like the Wolfpack minus 3.5.
I think that may be a good play. Colorado State's got a lot of problems. I hear they got some guys transferring, quitting, not wanting to play anymore. So could get ugly there. But let's jump into the noon action here. We'll be here at the Pine Room, so be sure and check us out. Social media at the Pine Room Podcast. If you got any comments, emails, any recommendations, questions, contact at thepineroompodcast.com. Be sure and get your gear, get your hoodie for the winter time at thepineroomshop.com. Jub's going to be putting out some more winter garments. He keeps getting bugged by everybody, including his brother, to get more stuff up. So he'll get to that. Lots of cool stuff on there. We really are lucky to have that. A lot of people comment about, well, wow, you guys got a store. I guess that makes us a big deal. So after we won Show of Hands, people started to realize maybe we're a little more serious than they originally thought. So anyway, check us out on all that stuff. We'll be here in the Pine Room watching these games on Saturday. The first game, Michigan and Indiana. Any thoughts on this game? Is it going to be a Michigan slaughter? I think Indiana really sucks. I would lean Michigan in this spot.
Yep.
Ditto.
Michigan. Yep.
A game I am interested in, Purdue at Maryland. I like Maryland in this game. I was against Purdue last week. I didn't know that P.J. Fleck was going to hide information and not tell us that running back was not playing for Minnesota, so that hurt my pick. I had Minnesota and over. That was a disaster. So a loss. You probably heard that last week. It's a terrible spot for me there. Once that Ibrahim guy was out, I was done. I like Maryland here. Maryland's impressed me. They're good at home. Three's not enough points. I think they should be given more than 3. I will be all over the Terps. Thoughts on this, guys?
Go Terps. I agree with you, Matt.
You were on Maryland beginning of the season.
Yes,
So
I think Maryland's really good.
Yeah, good offensive talent. Chris, any thoughts on that game?
Nah, just a boring Midwest team going to the East Coast. Go Maryland.
I know you're very happy that Maryland's in the Big Ten. Isn't that stupid?
It's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, really stupid. Any thoughts on Louisville at Virginia? Public all over Louisville here. Not really sure why that is. I think just maybe because Virginia looks like a handicap team. But Louisville looking to bounce back. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. I'm wondering why the public's all over Louisville. Does anybody know why?
Well, Louisville just got embarrassed by Boston College last
right.
week, so I think I would take the Cavaliers here. I know Virginia's bad, but Virginia, I don't think that offense has shown what they can do, and I think they had offense against that bad Louisville defense. They'll come out this week and play.
I agree. Chris, anything to add on that? Or
I like what Luke said.
Okay. All right. The big game of the week in the Pine Room. This is where all the eyes will be focused. Yeah. The biggest TV, the sound, those giant speakers that Jubb has will be on this game. The Texas Christian Horned Frogs visiting the Pine Room's adopted team, the Kansas Jayhawks. Nick and Coach, huge Jayhawk fans. They'll bet this. They wouldn't care what the spread was. They're betting the Jayhawks. They're going down with the ship. TCU -7 on the road, total 67.5. Coach likes this game over a lot. I tend to like it under a little bit. I think this will be played close. This is a big game. I feel like they'll be very careful. But I would lean Kansas here. Thoughts?
Did those guys say the game days? Game
day. Yep. They were a week late. Yep.
Wonder have they ever hosted that before?
No, I mean the basketball version of it, but no.
But so now, is Mark and Nick, are they going to bet Kansas because with their heart, or they really feel
their heart?
They getting 7 points.
Their heart, and Nick's got his all Kansas menu this week of smoked ribs and barbecue sauces and some kind of dirt cake. Jubb, did you see that?
He was drooling last night.
He was sending us all that stuff, the Kansas, whatever that desserts are.
Oh, yeah.
So he's ready to go. So
he better eat it early in case, if he waits too
could be indigestion.
He won't wait till after the game, though.
No, he's not waiting.
No.
But he's got to get a good
might
base.
Lose his appetite though if Kansas loses, but that should be a good game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out too. I probably won't be here till maybe halftime of that game if I'm lucky, but should be a good contest. Hopeful that the Jayhawks can pull it out. I thought that they probably outplayed Iowa State last week. A lot of people think Iowa State should have won that game, but I disagree. I thought Kansas was the better team there, so. I'll be supporting the Jayhawks. I think they got a chance to win the game outright. On to another game, the LSU Tennessee game we talked about. Chris, you got any thoughts on that game? I know
you passed up Florida, Missouri.
I will, but I'll go back to that. Yeah.
Okay.
-2.5 the Volunteers, 2.5 total 64. Both Lukes are on Tennessee.
I'm just going to take them just because my dislike of Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work down there for him, and I think they'll get tired of that act in a hurry.
Yeah, I think they already are, even though they started out pretty good. So.
Right. Tennessee's what? They're ranked 8th?
Yeah. The hooker kid, the quarterback's very good.
Yeah.
He's tough.
And it doesn't seem like it is, and not that I've been there, but Death Valley at noon compared to 8 o'clock at night, it's totally different. So
I think Tennessee caught a good break there. I don't think LSU could score enough in this game. I would be on Tennessee, definitely.
Jubb, cut this out. I wanted to say this, but I'm going to say it. Fuck Brian Kelly.
Yes.
He didn't have to
you
cut
sure
it out.
You want me to cut that out?
No, that's a beautiful edit. It's good to go. Boom, 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 boom. No,
a lot of people agree with that. Yep.
Yeah, beautiful. Couldn't have said it better myself. Any thoughts on Missouri at Florida? Chris, you mentioned this game. You got anything on this?
I don't know why that caught my eye. I guess because last week I was paying attention to the Missouri. They were hosting Georgia, and they blew a big lead, and that's 2 weeks in a row because I think the previous week they lost a heartbreaker to Auburn.
Yes.
And so now
led the whole game.
So now they got to go to Florida. Both teams are 0-2 in a conference.
Yeah.
And Missouri's only beaten Louisiana Tech, Abilene Christian. And I just think it's going to be tough for them to go to Florida.
Yes,
and
get back
beat
up.
them. Although the last 10 games that these two teams have played, they split them. It's been 5 wins for each of them the last 10 years. Last year, Missouri won at home 24-23 in overtime. But I guess it depends on how they're going to respond. I mean,
can they cover the 11.5? That's the big question.
No, I would just take
Florida probably needs this game too to just get some confidence going. Luke, you got thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think Missouri, they've had 2 battles the last 2 weeks. I think they're going to be exhausted. Yes. I think Florida comes out and kills them.
And Florida beat Utah too.
Yes, they did.
Week 1.
Yes, they did. Yep.
Yeah,
The Swamp's a tough place to
yeah.
play no matter what. Florida always has athletes.
So I was going to say take the 10.5.
All right.
Give it.
Lay the points with Florida. You heard it here. Total 54.5. All right, on to the Red River shootout here. The Red River rivalry. Texas at Oklahoma. It's really not at. It's at a neutral site, the Cotton Bowl. Texas opened 4.5. Now up to 7. Past 7 now to 7.5. Sharp money all over Texas here. Oklahoma's got some issues. Luke, what's the status of their quarterback? Is he playing? Have you heard anything?
I think he's playing. But,
okay.
Yeah, but
I would be all over the dog here, getting 7. I can get 7.5 in this rivalry game. Yeah. I know it doesn't seem, but I like Texas off of a nice win over the Mountaineers. The Mountaineers not very good. I'd lean Oklahoma here. Chris?
I'd go with Oklahoma, but I read something before coming up here today. Did you guys know this is the first time in 24 years that these two teams have played and neither one of them are ranked?
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
It is. It is very hard to believe. But both with relatively new coaches, programs getting rebuilt. Oklahoma's had back-to-back tough weeks. Texas they look up and down, talented, but can they put it all together? Will they show up here? I would take the 7.5, but I don't love it. Luke, final thoughts on that game?
Horns down. Let's go Boomer Sooner. I'm going to go with the Sooners here.
All right, moving on to another team who was they were in the game for a little bit last week. Arkansas visiting Mississippi State. Mississippi State -9. The total 61.5. This game opened -5.5, up to 9 now. A lot of Mississippi State money. People are loving Mike Leach. I'm not buying yet, but no. Arkansas, they're not as good as I thought they were. I had them last week. They got the game to a 5-point game, and then they just fell apart. Couldn't hang with Alabama. Any thoughts on this game, fellas?
No. I'm a Mike Leach fan. I don't think they're probably not good enough to cover that 8 point. Well, it's 9 now.
Yeah,
in fact, when I came and got this, when did you print this? Because yours says 9 now, so it changed.
Yeah. Well, no, I wrote some of these in, so they were, yep.
Okay,
so I made some adjustments. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing the for those of you just getting into this betting, the lines are moving all the time, so keep an eye on that stuff. Like I said, Wager Talk, great site to check on. It'll show you how recent the line moved, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Keep an eye on that stuff. People out there getting information, pounding these numbers, start moving them certain ways so you can kind of get some value if you follow along. Next game, this was a game I thought I had circled. It's not really because I was intrigued by it, but Buffalo at Bowling Green, mostly because the game opened Bowling Green -2.5, and now it's Buffalo -2. So interesting flip of the odds there. That's a game to take a look at. Somebody's on Buffalo. I don't know if they know something, but maybe Bowling Green's quarterback's girlfriend left him or whatever.
Wow.
He found out she was a transgender. I don't know. But who knows? Things could go downhill in a hurry if that happened. But anyway, I don't think you guys probably have any thoughts on those MAC games.
I would just say a bull would be able to kill a falcon, right, in real life.
If he got a hold of him.
Right. And a falcon can't go swoop and pick up a bull.
Well, he could peck his eyes out, maybe, but that'd be tough.
That's just like working on the knee in wrestling.
Right. Interesting take there. See,
nip at his teeth.
Good one,
Saul. One of these games in the middle of the card here, the 2:00 game. I like the Georgia Southern and Georgia State game over. The only problem is it was 65.5. Now it's up to 68. So that's one to enter with caution. I would still play it over 68, but if it gets much higher than that, I can't recommend. Moving down, South Florida at Cincinnati. Sharp money showing up on the over in this game. I'm leaning to South Florida here. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts here, but if I can get over 3 touchdowns, I don't think Cincinnati's quite as good as they have been. Luke, thoughts on that game? It's actually 4 touchdowns.
So. Yeah, actually, if I can get it 27.5, I'd take the Bearcats here.
Okay,
yeah,
all
right. I think that'll be a wide open game as far as points. I would take the over.
That's a good 59 bet. I had the over last week with Cincinnati. It came through. Another team that's pretty good on the overs, Tulsa. They visit Navy. I like Tulsa in this game. They are a -4 right now. They're -4, open 5.5, down a little bit, but I like that. A little bit of reverse line action there, but I like the Golden Hurricane to go into Navy. You guys have any thoughts on this game? Probably not.
One thing, the one team on the high school show is called the Golden Tornadoes, and this is the Golden Hurricane.
Hey, and if you want to find out how the Kaiser Golden Tornado got their nickname, Coach found out. So listen to the podcast, which would have came out yesterday. Be sure and check out our Pine Room podcast, episode 28. Coach talked about how they got that nickname. So, actually, you know what? Maybe he didn't even say that on the air.
No, I don't think
Did he not say it on the air?
I think
No, you're right. It was in a break.
It was in a break. Yeah.
It just dawned on me.
You'll have to say it on the radio show.
Yeah. Well, we'll save that for Monday then. Sorry. Take an IOU. Monday on The Watchdog at 2:00. Coach will tell the story about the Kaiser Golden Tornado after we recap that game as they come to John Marshall this week. All right. Moving along. Here's a game. Virginia Tech at Pitt. Pitt minus 14.5. Total 43.5. Pitt was humiliated last week, a loss to Georgia Tech. That clown Narduzzi, even when they think he's good or not. I'm all over Pitt here. I will back Pitt. I liked Pitt last week. They disgust me with that performance, but I really think Virginia Tech's one of the worst teams in Division I football. Luke, thoughts?
I like the Panthers here.
Lay the 14.5,
Matt,
Chris.
You know what? You convinced me a few weeks ago when you were talking trash on Virginia Tech and WVU handled them easily. And obviously WVU we know isn't very good, and so I would definitely. In fact, I'm going to bet Pitt this week.
Oh.
And if I don't win, I can blame the guy sitting to my left.
Yes, you can. I'll take the blame.
All right, so
just like
go
Coach,
Panthers.
Coach always blames Say when Oak State or the Jaguars don't cover. So, all right, on to another SEC battle. Auburn visiting Georgia. Georgia wasn't impressive last week. Auburn has been on the verge of disaster every week this year.
Yes.
Their coach is going out the door here any day now. His day's numbered. Wisconsin was the most recent team to whack their coach, as Paul Christ was let go this week. I don't know. I don't really think that's all his fault. But anyway, Wisconsin, maybe they'll bring back Barry Alvarez. He's probably got a few more years. Yeah. He's got to be 80.
Maybe they should try to get some non-white corners and maybe try to get a throwing game.
Well, that's their guy, Jimmy Leonard. He's the last good white defensive back in the Big Ten. Probably.
Oh yeah, he played for the Ravens.
Yeah, and he's their coach now, or at least their interim coach. But Georgia minus 29.5 to total 50. I'm on the under in this game. I think Georgia shuts Auburn out. Thoughts?
Yeah, probably 49-0. Well, like I said, Matt, before we got on here, I was looking through, and this was the biggest line of the day.
Yes.
What does yours say? I have it at 30.5.
29.5. So you're gonna be laying around.
I mean,
around
God,
30.
how bad is Auburn falling? My God.
I like Auburn here. I don't think Georgia can score that many points.
Well, then we'll be on the under then.
Right.
I'm on the under. I think Georgia's 4-1 to the under on the year, or maybe they might be 5-0. Anyway, moving on. Utah at UCLA, a big game. Coach all over this game. Chris, you like Utah, I believe. Start us out here. Utah on the road, minus 4.
Earlier today on one of the sports channels, they were referencing this game, and then when I got home, I did a little bit of homework, and so 4-1 Utah at 5-0 UCLA. What is it? 4 points. 4 points.
Total
Utah,
64.
64. I don't think UCLA is all that good. I mean, they've beaten 3 dog shit teams, and non-conference teams, I should say.
Right.
And I think they beat Colorado
and then Washington. Was a decent win.
Utah did lose to Florida, but the last 5 games in this series, Utah has kicked their ass basically. In fact, in those 5 games. Utah's margin of victory was almost 26 points a game. And I don't think the Pac-12 sucks basically overall. But I just don't like, a team like UCLA, they got these inflated statistics. They're ranked high in the team defense.
Typical team, the Chip Kelly coaches. Flashy.
Right.
But not really that good. Not tough in the trenches.
Right. So, and I don't think playing in Pasadena is a big home field advantage.
Not anymore.
UCLA, so I'm going to take Utah, given the 4 points. I think that that's. I'm not saying that's my lock, but that's.
No, I think it's a good strong play. Sharp money coming to the over. So far, that thing opened a little bit lower than 64. It's up to 64. Luke, your thoughts on this big showdown in the Pac-12?
I'm sorry, Mark, but let's go Utes.
All right. Well, there you go. You and Chris are on the Utes. Coach's beloved UCLA Bruins.
Who do you like?
I'd maybe slightly UCLA because I'm not a huge Utah backer, but I could definitely see Utah going in there and
3:30 on
steamrolling them.
Yes.
All right, moving on to another Big 12 showdown. Texas Tech visiting Say's Oklahoma State Cowboys. The Cowboys -9. The total now up to 69.5 after opening at 64. It's set at 67.5 this morning, and it's up to 69.5 now. They're crushing the over in this game. I have to say, I owe Say an apology. I picked against his team last week. I had Baylor. Oklahoma State impressed me. I was very impressed with them. I didn't know if they would be as good as they were last year, but they are. And Gundy's a good coach. Mm-hmm. I think they got a nice, stable program there. They let Baylor gash them for some big plays, but Baylor plays just such a weird style with going forward in their own territory all the time and stuff. But anyway, I would lean Oak State here, but over may be a good bet here, guys. What are we thinking?
I'm on Texas Tech here.
Okay.
Actually, I just this thing's been firing me up, and I've been actually waiting to talk about this. There's just so many bad teams that are ranked right now.
You're right about that.
I'm going through 4 through 10 right now. Michigan's not that good. Clemson's not that good. USC's not that good. Oklahoma State's not that good. Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Penn State are all not that good, and I just don't see how they should be ranked in the top 10.
Well, the problem is, Luke, who the hell are we going to rank ahead of them?
I know.
Right.
Therein lies the problem, because there's just not very many good teams. Chris, any thoughts on this game?
A Big 12 matchup. I'm going to go with the over.
Okay.
I'm not so sure about Oklahoma State. I mean, they impressed me last week.
Yeah, they were good last week.
But I'll go over.
And I will say, and Luke hit on this before, Texas Tech's a little better than we originally thought they would be from the beginning of the season. Moving on to if you need to catch a nap at 3:30. How did
I know you were
flipping on to the Big Ten Network as Wisconsin, with Jimmy Leonard at the helm now in his first week, visits Northwestern. This is Jubb's kind of game right here. Too bad it's not later in the year. It could be a blizzard. Could be a 10-9 game. I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts. Wisconsin laying 10 on the road seems a little bit much. Total 45. I had to hammer the under. Anybody got anything to add to that?
Nope.
No, I would take Northwestern at home getting 10, but but you're right. I was thinking about that. I thought, well, that'd be the perfect after your lunch. You do a couple chores and you hit the couch with a blanket and you're out cold watching this shit.
Yeah, literally by the second drive you'll be out. Yeah. No doubt about it. So for anybody that's got insomnia, just turn the Big Ten Network on. It'll cure all ailments.
Watch this game be like a 62 to 57 game.
Yeah, game in a week.
Yeah, we're underestimating it. People think we're idiots, which we probably are. Duke at Georgia Tech. Any thoughts on this game? A great ACC showdown. Duke -3, total 52.5. Georgia Tech a week removed from beating Pitt. I kind of like Duke in this game. I think Georgia Tech takes a backslide. They probably got pretty pumped up to play for the new guy. No, I don't think they. I think that was a mirage last week. I like Duke here.
I'm going to take Tech here. I think basketball season's around the corner. I think most Blue Devil fans have shifted their focus, and I'm going to take the Yellow Jackets here.
Yeah, I'll say.
Why? Are there usually a lot of basketball fans go to this game?
I don't know. He doesn't know. No, I mean, it's just, I don't know.
They don't have Rat this year, do they?
No,
you got a new coach at Duke.
Shire. Oh, boy.
That's why they're even more focused.
Yeah. Chris, you have any thoughts on that game? The rambling wreck? I mean, jeez.
I'll go with Duke.
Yeah. All right, North Carolina at my Miami Hurricanes. My Miami Hurricanes, which I try to tell people they're not very good. It's going to take them a couple years. Their talent's a little low this year. They've got good guys on the way, so stay tuned. But Hurricanes -3.5, total 66. A lot of money coming in on the over in this game. Might not be a bad bet. Both these defenses have a lot of work to do, so that's where I would go. Any thoughts on this game, gentlemen?
I don't trust your Hurricanes.
No,
I would when I think
don't bet Miami. Do yourself a favor.
I would take Miami here just because.
I mean, I hope they
just
do.
Because.
But
I think North Carolina's defense is really bad. I think you guys will score a lot.
We should be able to, but maybe a Miami team total over. Maybe that's the way to go.
Well, you need a happy win, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not surprised by anything that's happened.
But you've been saying that for years.
Couple years. No, Cristobal's going to do well. We had more talent previously. We lost a lot of guys, transfer portal, and guys that graduated it, and just graduate transfers. So they lost a lot of guys. It's hard to get good again that quickly, but they will. He does a good job recruiting, so I think they'll be better next year. Next year will be a year for a drastic improvement. On to the least liked team on the set here, Ohio State at Michigan State. Ohio State -26, the total 63. I think Michigan State's horrible.
Yes.
I think Ohio State just names the score here.
Yep. I'm going to say I think the lock of the year is C.J. Stroud in this game over his passing yards because this Sparty secondary is really bad.
It is. It's really an abomination, Michigan State. I think they're probably rethinking that contract. Yeah, they gave them Mel Tucker. Oh boy, that doesn't look so good anymore. All right, let's go back into the SEC. Ole Miss visiting Luke's Vanderbilt Commodores. Ole Miss opened this at minus 19. It's now down to 17, 59.5 the total. I like Vandy here.
Yes. I like Vandy as well. I think the Commodores aren't as bad as people say they are. I think the offense struggles, but the defense can hold. I think they'll hold this Ole Miss offense, and I think they'll lose by 14.
Yeah, I think if you can get 17 in the hook, that's what I'll be looking for. I think Ole Miss comes in here after a great game last week against Kentucky, a seesaw battle, high emotions, just everything left out on the field to the very last play. I think they come in a little exhausted, and they overlooked Vandy, and I think Vandy covers. Chris, thoughts?
No, I like Kiffin and the Rebels.
Okay, all right, the Rebs.
Road, I mean, you guys wasn't it? You guys did the futures for Vanderbilt, and they were two.
Yeah, but Luke already cashed that. Yeah,
I know, but that means
Cha-ching.
No, I'm gonna go with this.
Okay, well, it could be. Yeah, well, Vandy could be running out of steam. All right, next game: Western Kentucky visiting Johnson's UTSA Roadrunners. That's Say's second team. UTSA minus 7. 71 the total. Sharp money coming in on UTSA.
72 and
yeah, that's a really high total. I probably wouldn't lay that. Hi, Soup. Welcome to the show. Brian Campbell in attendance here at Bettor's Last Stand. We'll get his picks of the week here in a couple minutes. Any thoughts on this UTSA game, fellas?
It's a battle. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Chris.
No, I just say like the battle of the nicknames here: Hilltoppers versus Roadrunners. I like that. I don't know anything about either one of these teams, but if Say likes UTSA,
yeah, they've been a covering machine so far this year. So
then I'll give 6.5.
Okay,
yeah, I'll take the Roadrunners.
All right, dropping down. If I pass a game you guys are interested in, all right, I'm dropping down to game 405-406. The Connecticut Huskies at the Florida International Golden Panthers. I really like this game under. UConn came up with a massive win last week, a home win, 17 or maybe they have a 20-point dog against Fresno State at home. I like the way their defense looked. I think they go down. FIU's not that good. I like this to be a really low-scoring game. I could see UConn winning, but I wouldn't lay the 4.5 with them. I do like an under, so that's one of my top plays. Moving down to South Carolina at Kentucky. Public money all over Kentucky here. The Wildcats minus 11, the total 49. Do we have any thoughts on this SEC showdown, fellas?
No.
No, I'd probably take Kentucky, though, if I had to.
Okay. All right. Let's drop down to USC Trojans, who Luke just mentioned, maybe a tad bit overrated. They will host the Washington State Cougars. The Trojans opened minus 11. It's now up to minus 13.5. The total now 66.5, up from 61. People really think this USC team's good, Luke.
Actually, I think this is the week that they get upset. I think Washington State beats them this week. Yes.
Okay, calling a shot. I like it.
USC is going to blow them out. Their defense, USC's defense, isn't all that good. I think they have like one top-ranked NFL guy on defense, but their offense, I mean, they can put points on the board. So I would. Well, what'd you say it is now, Matt?
13.5. Yeah.
I'd lay the 13 and go with the Trojans.
All right. Good. You can get Luke's pick of Washington State on the money line plus 350. So load up on your DraftKings or your FanDuel right now. All right, a game I really like. Don't ask me why. Game 3. Well, I don't know why I'm saying the bet numbers on here, but anyway, it's good to know. If you come to the window, you should have your bet numbers ready. 393, 394. I like 394. Illinois Fighting Illini minus 3.5, total 35.5. It's laughable. I like Illinois in this game. I think Iowa has been exposed to be a complete fraud. They were an embarrassment last week against Michigan at home. I think the Illini take care of them pretty easily here, guys. Maybe another sleep inducer.
Well,
here.
Matt, I was just going to say that you when you wake up from your first nap, you better turn off the Big Ten network, or else you're going to sleep all night. Right. I mean, this is just awful.
Well,
football.
For any of our West Coast friends, if you're needing to catch your midday nap, this will be a 4:30 start for you. So, be sure to hit the couch, get your blanket. Luke, any thoughts on this game?
I like the Hawkeyes here. I think. I think they win the game outright.
Oh man, okay. All right, on to the big game of the night. We have our big game of the day, which is the Kansas game, and our big game of the night, BYU and Notre Dame going at it at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The Fighting Irish minus 3.5, total 52.5. I got to be honest, I thought this line was wrong when I saw it. I couldn't believe Notre Dame opened minus 3. I thought it would be more like a pick, being a neutral. It's now up to 3.5. A lot of money on Notre Dame. Luke? do we get on the Irish this week?
I think if you could get it at 2.5, I would take
Okay,
it. But 3.5 might be a little bit pushing. I could see it being a last-second field goal win for either side. But I'm going to stay away from this game.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Now, you'll probably be back over the house watching this one, huh?
Yes.
Yep. I believe your dad told us that yesterday. So
Jeff won't be here either?
No. Well, he'll be here most of the day.
Right. Okay.
And hopefully they return upon victory. That hasn't worked out very well so far this year. Chris, any thoughts on this? You're an Irish guy.
I'm still waiting for Notre Dame to hammer somebody. And I don't know when that's going to happen, but I'll bet on them to do it this week.
Why not Saturday?
Right,
here in the Pine Room.
Right.
All right. Kansas State at Iowa State. Any thoughts on this game? I was leaning Kansas State. Kansas State minus 2.5, total 45.5. I think Iowa State's vastly overrated. Matt Campbell continues to disappoint. How about him sending that kicker out there? It already missed 2 times, and the guy missed it so badly. It was terrible. He should have just went for it. But any thoughts on this game, guys?
K-State.
Yep.
Okay. I like them too. K-State. Everybody on K-State. All right, dropping down to a couple of late-nighters, and then we're going to talk NFL. Oregon at Arizona. Oregon minus 13, a total 70.5. I don't know what to make of Bo Nix on the road. I'd be on Arizona in this game, I think. Any thoughts?
I'm gonna go with Oregon here. I just don't think Arizona's a real tough atmosphere to play on.
No, there's a lot of hot girls there,
Yes.
but I don't know about a dangerous atmosphere to go into. But
Arizona's they'll improve over the years. They're improving this year, and I think they'll have a solid program in a couple years. But
per capita, probably the hottest girls in the entire country go to school at Arizona or Arizona State. Just if you ever get down that way,
those aren't just made up numbers.
No, they're pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know about the football programs, but the off-field stuff.
It's nice when they
looking
scan,
all right.
when they scan the crowd during the games and
good
see all
jeans.
those,
Every girl's tan.
Yep,
Oh man,
yep.
jeez. Yep. All right. I think I could deal with the sunlight if I was down there. It'd be all right. All right. Finishing up our final game that we'll talk about, unless you guys want to go to one of these other great ones. Oregon State Beavers. Jub's partial to Beaver. They visit Stanford. The Beavers minus 7, total 55.5. Stanford's falling on hard times. I'm an Oregon State guy, but man, laying 7 on the road in a conference game is worrisome to me.
Saturday night Beaver, baby.
Legit 11 o'clock kick. Luke, Chris, thoughts on the Beavers at the Cardinal?
I'm going to take Stanford here.
Okay. I would probably lean that way too. But I'm hoping that the Oregon State Beavers can come out on top somehow.
Yeah, they will. They're not going to cover.
Because I need them for that win total.
I need Stanford too.
Yes, right. Oh, yeah, we're head-to-head. Luke over 4.5. His Cardinal 1-3 right now, and
Not
my
good.
Beavers are 3-2.
Yeah.
Well, you know what,
we
though,
both
Luke,
need this game.
I know, Luke, but Matt's probably put more money on this than you, so I hope Matt wins.
Well, Luke just recommends his picks to his dad, so and Jeff's putting down Luke might lose his car over this or
the
something.
mortgage is on this.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll be back here on Bettor's Last Stand and talk about this week's NFL card. I know Chris can't wait.
This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
Welcome back into Bettor's Last Stand. We have a producer switch here as Soup takes over the controls of the Starship Enterprise. Jub goes and prepares for the Hot Sauce Challenge, which you'll be able to check out here on our social media as these guys are going to try some of these volatile sauces that they got up at the Tanger Outlets last weekend. So we're looking forward to that. Soup, welcome. Thanks for taking over for us, and I hope your palate's ready for a incredible feat tonight.
You guys look good over there. I'm ready to listen to some NFL picks.
All right, we're ready to get into
Chime in, Soup. You always got an opinion on that.
All right, so let's not waste any more time. Get into the NFL card. Thursday's game we won't go over, but real quick, did you guys have any thoughts on the Thursday game?
I hate the Colts. I mean, they screw me every
Matt
week.
Ryan and
I mean,
Jonathan Taylor's out.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's out, so I would go with that.
I lean Broncos. Luke?
I'm actually Colts here. I think the Broncos.
Even with Taylor out?
I think the Broncos. Well, they got Williams out too. I think the Broncos are frauds.
Melvin Gordon, or didn't they get Latavius Murray now?
Yeah,
too?
I actually need the Broncos to keep losing.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, we're not wasting any time on that. That game happened last night. Hope you were able to get a winner with that. So anyway, let's go to London again. Second straight week game in London. The New York Giants visiting the Green. Well, they're not really visiting. Instead of going to Lambeau Field, they're going to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In London, the Packers -8, the total 41. I found this interesting tidbit from last week. The amount wagered on last week's Saints and Vikings game at William Hill Sportsbook in the UK was only 1 to 2% of the actual handle on the Manchester United game. So that tells you how far American football's got to come before we get to be big. Yeah, 1 to 2% of the amount wagered on that soccer match. So anyway, giant rivalry over there if you're not aware of English soccer.
Right.
Anyway, Packers, I'm the Giants, I keep waiting for them to stumble. They got another cover last week, but they played the Bears. Dallas took care of them the week before. Green Bay's hard to lay 8, but I'd probably lean with the Packers and maybe under in this game. Any thoughts, guys?
I like the under, and I like Green Bay to win it.
Right.
I just don't think
8's tricky.
Yeah, and the Giants, I mean, offensively, they're not all that good.
Saquon.
That's it. Or Daniel Jones can scramble a little bit, but that's it.
Luke?
Go Pack, go. Let's go Packers.
All right. Interesting take there. Packers all the way around. Bears visiting the Vikings. Vikings -7, the total 44. Kirk Cousins seems to beat up on bad teams. They got the job done in London last week, although they didn't cover. If you had the 3.5, you were done. If you got the 2.5, you were good. If you had the 3, you got the push. So depends on the number you got there. I wasn't overly impressed with the Vikings. I thought that their coach, O'Connell, was horrible. Made a lot of stupid blunders and kicked field goals when he shouldn't have, and I thought he kept points off the board. I would lean Vikings here, though. I think the Bears are horrible, and I think they're going to go on a massive run of losing right now. Total 44. I'm on the Vikings. Where do you go, Luke?
Let's go Vikings. I agree, Matt.
All right, Chris?
The same way. Not only did you say that Justin Fields is one of the worst quarterbacks in football. They're not gonna. I mean, I would think the Vikings would cover, but no way Bears are winning this. No way.
Funny you mentioned Justin Fields. Justin Fields through 4 games is 34 of 67, 50.7% for 471 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. That's some guys throw for that in one game, minus the 4 INTs. But very unimpressive offense for the Bears. I think the Vikings take care of business there. All right, on to Seattle. Bad performance by our Lions last week against the Seahawks. Seahawks visiting the Saints. Saints -6, the total 46. I like this game over. I think the Seahawks have a horrible defense, just only a little bit better than the Lions. So I'm on the over here. Guys, thoughts on this one?
I would tend to agree with that, Matt. And what in the hell is going on with Geno Smith?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's playing really well.
I
mean, putting up those points and
Soup's boy from the Mountaineers.
Yeah, so I would go with that. Yeah, the over. I don't know. Can they go on the road again? And
I don't know. I'd be tempted to, but only catching 6. I don't know. It seems like they could actually cover that number, but I feel safer with the over. I feel like there'll be some points scored in that game.
Yes.
Luke.
Yeah, I'm on the Seahawks here. I think they could win the game outright. This offense has shown. DK Metcalf we had some worries, but he just had to poop, so they're good there.
You were on the Seahawks at the beginning of the year over 5.5. This would be a big one for you if they could get it. That would get them over halfway there to 3 wins, and they only need 3 more. So we'll be pulling for the Seahawks, I think, here. I like the over, and I would definitely lean Seahawks. Chris is in agreement. All right, the Dolphins. Injury-riddled Dolphins now as Tua we'll see if he actually ever comes back. He's out this week. Teddy Bridgewater in the lineup, but that's not a bad backup. He's a very, very good against covering the spread. I meant to pull those numbers. I did not, but check those out. Teddy Bridgewater's had a very good record covering spreads in his career as a starter. The Dolphins -3.5, total 44.5 as they visit the Jets. Jets coming off a incredible victory against the Steelers, where Zach Wilson, I will say, looked very impressive. Great last drive to engineer, a win. I would just worry about teams like the Jets being able to play good back-to-back weeks. But this is a bad spot for Miami, too, as they come in with their quarterback out. Chris, you had some thoughts on this.
Well, I know, and I like the Jets, but then I hear you talk about that. Then I change my mind.
But 3.5, though, I mean, maybe they lose by 3.
I think the Jets have been pretty competitive in most of their games, I think, this year. I mean, maybe with the exception of, the Ravens. But I don't know. The Dolphins could be in some trouble here just with that Tua situation. And So I'm going to take the Jets getting 3.5
I like
at
it.
home.
Luke,
Yep.
I'm on the Dolphins here.
Okay. Are you a Dolphins believer? You think they're as good as they have been? Like, I mean, obviously without Tua, that's a little bit of a snag. But you think they're a legitimate contender in the AFC?
Not at all.
Oh, okay. So you just like the spot. Then,
Yeah, I think the Jets are bad. The Steelers are bad.
Yep.
So that's,
Let me add something to that.
Yeah.
I think after watching the Steelers and Jets last week, I'm serious. I love the over this week. I think the Dolphins end up winning this game like 27-20, and that hits that over that 46.
That's a low. Yeah, that total's drifted up a little bit, Soup. But I agree. I think you could see some points there. I think the Jets got a lot of confidence last week with their offense, which is much needed when you have a young quarterback. So keep an eye on that over. That number continues to go up. Better jump on it now. On to our next game. The Lions, our damn Lions. The bastards cost us last week. They couldn't get a stop, couldn't get off the field, and then Goff had a pick six, and it was an ugly display. It was a bloodbath there at Ford Field. The Lions visiting the New England Patriots. Patriots -3. The total 46.5. New England off a tough, hard-fought loss against Green Bay where they did cover. Game went over. They showed some signs of life. They had a guy in the game that I don't even know who he was. Did you know that quarterback they had? Zappy?
Yeah. He's from he went Western Kentucky.
Yeah,
and he's the all-time passing leader in college football.
No, I remember. I actually do remember when somebody did tell me it because I remember how good their offenses were. He was very impressive, and he played really well, and it was a nice cover for them. I like New England in this game. I think they get well. I think they stomp Detroit. Belichick will have a lot ready for old Dan Campbell. Yeah. And I also think that the Patriots will score some points. I would definitely bet the over. I can't believe this game's in the 40s. I know New England's not a great offense, but the Lions' defense is really, really bad.
Matt, they've given up 141 points in
Didn't
4
you
games.
tell me the other day they're on pace to give up more points than any team in the history of the league?
Yep.
And it's by like 60.
Oh, my God.
So they're giving up almost what would that be, like about 35 points a game?
Yeah, every game went over. They're smoked the cigar on the over.
I'm taking. I'd go with New England too.
Okay,
Matt,
Chris
definitely.
or Luke.
I'm on the Lions here actually.
Okay, you think the Lions bounce back?
Yes.
Dan Campbell gets that D tightened up, huh?
Yeah.
All right, here's the big game. The Steelers visiting the Bills. The Bills -14. The total 47. I found this incredible. The Steelers are the only team since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger to never be a 14-point underdog until this week. First time ever. Soup, this is your team.
Wow.
You're a big Pickett guy. Do you think they can backdoor cover the Bills here getting 14?
I know there's no camera on me, but my eyes literally, I can't believe that's a stat. To be honest with you, I love Kenny. I think he looked good when he came in. It would have been nice if you could have got to start that game.
Yeah.
I really think they should have prepped for him to be the starting quarterback going into that week.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch him play. I think 14 points is a lot of points.
Yeah, it's a ton in the NFL.
I think that final score is going to look something like 31-20. Bills win. So I did see a stat or a number I really liked. Steelers over 15.5 total team points.
Okay.
I really like that one. So
that makes some sense. I will say Pickett took chances down the field, which is a good sign for the Steelers. They'll score more points. They'll also probably turn the ball over a little bit more, but I think people are willing to live with that because Trubisky, the big knock on him is he would never throw the ball down the field to their playmakers. Yeah. So I think you'll see an improvement there. And I agree with you. The Steelers could backdoor this if he can survive early because this is a tough environment to be going into. Bills Mafia, rookie quarterback, first start. I'm with you. I thought Tomlin should have got him a game under his belt before this. I don't know, Chris?
No, I totally agree with you, Matt. To go in there in a hostile environment against probably the arguably the best team in football and have his very first start there. And the Steelers, it's so much different, that team without that T.J. Watt.
Oh, man.
I mean,
their record without him is horrible.
It's just so much different. I mean, I don't know. The Bills could put up 40 some. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would take the Bills, given that big
Luke?
number.
I'm on the Steelers here.
Okay. You think they get within the number or they stay within the number the whole game?
See, the Steelers play well in big games, so I can honestly see them winning the game outright.
Wow. I wouldn't disagree with you if they had Watt, but man, that's going to be a tough task for a rookie quarterback. If he did, that would be the stuff that legends are made of. That would be incredible.
Yes.
All right, on to our next game. Ironically, the biggest Bucs fan in the Ohio Valley walks in as we preview the Bucs. The Falcons visit Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay -8.5. The total 48. Brady missed practice today, Cooley. What the hell's going on down there? All right. Cooley says I'll fucking lock Bucks minus 8.5. Chris?
I like the Falcons.
Well, they don't have Cordero Patterson. That could be a problem. But,
well.
I don't know. Luke?
Let's go Bucks. I'm on the Bucks.
Okay. This could be a get-well game for them. If they get some of these guys back, the Falcons have played over their head. I will give them credit. They've been better than I thought.
They have been.
And Arthur Smith might not be as big a buffoon as I thought. He's done an all right job. So, all right, on to our next game. Tennessee, off of a nice win last week. I did have them against the Colts, so that was a good one for me. Public money showing on them right now as they visit the Commanders. Actually, the Redskins. I don't like calling them the Commanders. Tennessee minus 2.5, total 42.5. This game, I would be on the Skins again. I'm not a Titans guy, and Washington's got to win a game sometime. Luke?
I'm on the Titans.
No, that's your boy Derrick Henry.
I think the Titans have shown a lot of offense the last 2 weeks, which I think they found an identity, and that defense is good. It's been good the last couple years, and I think they'll be the winners out of that NFC. What are they?
South.
I think they'll win that division.
Well,
AFC South.
Yeah, AFC South. Yeah. You had Derrick Henry. His rush yards over, and he's up to 306 now. He got some momentum the last couple of weeks, so that's got to be a good sign for you.
They have a passing game now, which I think is going to open a lot of things up for the offense.
Yep. And Washington, man, their defensive line's beat up. They're just a disaster. Yeah. Ron Rivera, I've never been a fan. I don't think you have either. I think that guy gets an inflated image. I think he's out the door here quickly.
And when I was running down the matchups this week, and I saw the Titans and the Redskins, it's the NFL version of the Wisconsin Northwestern College game. If you want to get a nap at 1 o'clock,
there you go.
Turn this game
Get on Fox.
But I think it'd just be a miserable game to watch. But I think the Titans will cover the 2.5 or whatever.
I mean, if both teams play up to their talent levels, Tennessee should win the game. I agree with that. All right, on to another game. Houston, the Texans visiting Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags minus 7, 44.5. The Jags now getting a lot of respect in the power ratings of these bookmakers. They're now laying 7. That would be unheard of a couple years ago. Houston's a scrappy team, a cover type team. This is a division game. I would lean the Texans. I'd love to get 7.5 here. If I can find that, I would probably get Houston. If it would drop below 6 somehow, down to 5.5 or so, I'd be on Jacksonville. That's how close of a game I think it'll be. What do you guys think?
I think the Texans, they're just a cover team. I think they're good, but they're not good enough to win games. I think they compete, but I like the Texans here too. I could see the Jags having a letdown game, young core. I could see the Texans maybe winning this game.
Yeah, and that would be natural for Jacksonville. Chris?
No, I would take the Texans with the points.
Right.
Not sure they can win the game, but Jackson, I mean, both teams are they're up and coming.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that with the Titans we just talked about, and then those two teams, the Colts have been by far the worst team in that division. And everybody loved them at the beginning of the year. They've been terrible.
Yeah.
And Frank Reich will be out the door here if he loses on Thursday.
And the Jags, just in that division, they've scored the most points out of those teams. They have 105 points and only 67 points against. So they got a plus 38.
They played well.
So they'd probably be a low-scoring game.
Yep, they're in a good spot. They keep improving, and they got a good coach now. All right, on to another big game, Chris. The Chargers visiting the Browns. The Chargers minus 3 on the road at Cleveland, 47.5 the total. You probably wish this game was a little later in the year where it was colder, and that would play more of a role. Mm-hmm. Chargers, when they're clicking, they're very good. I'm still not sold on their coach. I think he's got a lot of liabilities. The Browns, they just got to get their roster healthy. The secondary of the Browns has been awful. And the quarterbacks that they've played this year.
I love that stat you put up there, Matt.
Yes.
That tidbit.
Yeah. Where is I was on this sheet. Yeah, let me read this to you people out there watching Bettor's Last Stand. The Browns rank 31st in yards per catch to opposing wide receivers, 15.4. They've played Baker Mayfield, Joe Flacco, Mitch Trubisky, and Marcus Mariota. Mm-hmm. 4 of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yes.
And now they got to play Justin Herbert, who could be a Hall of Famer. This could be ugly. I like the over in this game a little bit, but I think it's tricky to bet against the Browns in a home game when they're catching 3 or more. So I would stay away from the Chargers, but the Chargers right now are the better team here. If the Browns are fully healthy, this would be a hell of a game. Chris,
I just don't see how defensively they can stop this team. I mean, and I don't know what the status is on Myles Garrett or Clowney, and they've got a very weak interior line. I mean, they got frickin' Tommy Togiai from Ohio State. The guy's a clown. He ought to dress up as Bozo. But I just think their defensive coordinator, he's confused all the time. They give up huge chunks of yards and at the worst possible time when they're when they're protecting leads. So. Sadly, I mean, the Browns can score points.
Yeah, I like over here.
But I think in the end, the Chargers will win the game.
All right, Luke?
I think a push. I think the Chargers win by 3.
Okay, yep. I can see it. I mean, if Garrett plays and Clowney, I mean, that pass rush is kind of like what we were talking about with Watt. Those guys are so key, especially Garrett. I mean, he's a game-changer type player, and if you have him on the field, can get to a quarterback of Herbert's caliber on third down, it could help you out a ton. So, all right, moving on to the 49ers at the Panthers. San Francisco -5, total 39.5. Frisco with a nice win on Monday Night Football. I was on the right side of that one. Jimmy G performed pretty well. San Fran defense incredible. They got Chris a big win in fantasy over
22
Coach.
points.
So all things good in Frisco. The thing I worry about San Francisco, they don't play great back-to-back games a lot. I could see them winning this game. I think they should win this game. 5, they should cover that, but I'd be a little bit leery. Carolina right now is a wounded animal. Their coach, Rule, is on the hot seat. They were just abysmal last week. I had them, of course. A terrible performance against Arizona. An outright loss there. They were embarrassing in that game. Baker Mayfield looked like a guy that couldn't play for Corpus Christi. And just horrible. Luke, what are you thinking in this game?
All right, let's go San Fran. I think San Fran rolls here.
Yeah, San Fran very good.
I do too. And even though they got to go cross country down to Carolina, I think that defense and they were playing Matt Stafford, who's not a bad quarterback, but now they're going to play frickin' Baker Mayfield. Yeah. Baker's terrible. He can make the best wide receivers look terrible. That DJ Moore now, he's nothing.
I think a great bet in that game is Mayfield to throw an interception. If you can find plus money on that, I'd be going to the stockbroker right now and getting everything you have and putting it on.
I'd bet the under. Yeah. I don't see how Carolina can score points.
Right. No, I agree with that.
Sucks.
Also, Carolina team total, Chris. That's a good point. I think if you could get 17, it'd probably be less than that. It'd probably be about 14 or 13 and a half. I'd look at that definitely. All right, on to the Eagles. The talk of the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the Arizona Cardinals in a former NFC East showdown. Chris, remember when they were in the same division all those years ago when they were the Phoenix Cardinals?
Right.
The Eagles, rather, -5.5 on the road. Total 49.5. Eagles have been really impressive. Arizona struggled at home. I don't have any faith in Kyler Murray or Kingsbury. I would lay with the Eagles. I know I usually wouldn't do that, but they have impressed me, guys.
Eagles.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think Kyler Murray has been a disappointment. I think they're trying to, or they figured him out. I mean, he's so goddamn small.
Yes.
And the Eagles are rolling. We were talking before we came on about just their overall roster, and they're fun to watch.
Yeah, offensively and defensively.
They really are. So I would fly Eagles fly.
Fly Eagles fly. All right, on to our next game. Dallas visiting the Rams. The Rams -4.5, 45.5. The Rams off a terrible performance, but San Francisco's owned them over the past few years. I keep going against Dallas. Now, I had them against Cincinnati, and then I was against them. But they've impressed me. Cooper Rush has kept the ship afloat. Mike McCarthy's not made any serious blunders yet, but they're due. So I would be on the Rams here. I don't love it. I like this game under a lot, though. Guys?
I like the Rams. I think this should be our Busch Light pick of the week.
Okay. All right. I could get behind that. Chris?
Yeah. Coming off that tough loss.
Yeah,
the other night, and
they bounced back.
They bounced back playing at home, and the Cowboys with Cooper Rush. So I'll take the Rams.
Yep, and I like the under in that game. All right, our Sunday night game: Cincinnati, the Bengals visiting the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens -3. The total 48. I found this interesting stat: the Ravens are 2-2. They've trailed for a combined 14 seconds this year, and are 2-2. So that's depressing.
Well, what were they? Well, I know last week. What was the other game when they botched?
Well, they blew it against the Dolphins.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the coaching decisions.
But it was
last
35-14. They had that lead in that game.
Yes. Yeah. And the coaching decisions last week. Whether it's Harbaugh, it's Kingsbury, it's Stefanski, it's O'Connell, it's Sirianni. Yep. I mean, I don't know where to begin with that. We could talk about that for a whole show. But anyway, thoughts on this game? I would lean Ravens here, but I'm biased. I'm very anti-Bengal, and I'm very pro-Raven. Ravens have lost their last 5 at home too. Strange. Any thoughts, guys? Outside opinion.
I on paper, this to me looks like it has the potential to be the game of the week. I think both teams are good. Both teams can score points. I mean, they both got good quarterbacks. I don't like either team, but I would. I'm going to go with the Bengals. Just the way the Ravens have just choked away these games.
Yeah, no, I can.
And
see
I don't know
that.
if that's becoming. It's almost like a pattern.
It is a bad pattern. Luke,
another push. Ravens win by 3.
Okay. Yep. All right. And then if that's not the game of the week, then this one probably is. The Raiders at the Chiefs on Monday night. Chiefs laying 7, total 51. Hard to not take the Raiders if you can get 7 in the hook. Our buddy Luke took them down there after he wanted to take the Bucks, but he wasn't sure about Brady, so he got Vegas. If you can get 7.5, they played them very toughly. I think they beat them once last year. They played 2 very good games against the Chiefs. They can score. Chiefs defense is better though. I do like them. I mean, my gut says the Chiefs could blow them out, but most of the time these division games tend to stay within 7. So yes. I'd probably take the points. Thoughts? Maybe over.
I'd say over.
Yeah.
I
Luke?
Let's go Raiders. I'm on the Raiders.
All right, Raiders. Yeah, that's right. Luke on the Raiders. But anyway, guys, anything else that we didn't talk about in the NFL? I think we covered pretty much everything we can do here within a couple hours. It was fun. Chris, thanks for joining us.
It was really a lot of fun, and glad that I could come in and contribute a little bit, filling in for the legend.
You did a great job. You did a great job.
The legend, and it was a pleasure.
Yeah, it's like filling in for Jimmy the Greek.
Right, and we really couldn't ask for a better day to do this outside.
Yes,
beautiful,
gorgeous day. So be sure and check us out all weekend in the Pine Room at the Pine Room Podcast. Contact at the Pine Room Podcast. You want to email us anything you like about the show, any hot plays you want to get on here as a guest picker, anything that you want to do, just send us a note. Be sure and check us out. We'll have lots of action going on here all weekend. Well, at least Saturday. I don't know what Sunday's status is. Usually everybody's drunk and near dead. Yeah. But we'll be back here next week here on Bettor's Last Stand. Thanks for joining us as we march on through the NFL and college football this week. Good luck in your bets.
Yeah.